A number of special guests arrived at the Emporia State University campus on Tuesday morning. They came for their first visit to the National Teachers Hall of Fame, a nonprofit organization established in 1989. In a museum featuring educational memorabilia and tributes to American educators, they posed in front of their own photos as the 2018 inductees into the Hall of Fame. They gave interviews to the media, checked out the displays, and visited with each other, as well as with Executive Director Carol Strickland and her staff, who expressed appreciation for their participation and for contributing items illustrating their experiences as teachers. Then the group moved on to visit the nearby Stone Schoolhouse that's been relocated to the ESU campus, where they were again asked to pose for photos, individual shots, as well as shots of the group. These 5 educators come from California, Oregon, New Mexico, and Texas, as well as from Overland Park, Kansas. As they stepped outside the schoolhouse, they found themselves at the Memorial to Fallen Educators, created in 2013, where they viewed the names of school employees from across the nation who've lost their lives while on the job. In preparation for the upcoming rededication ceremony, a number of names were being added to the memorial, representing those who've lost their lives in the past year, including teachers from Parkland, Florida, and Santa Fe, Texas, who were killed in school shootings. As more names are added each year, there's need to add another granite book on which to engrave them, which will require a significant amount of additional funding. The National Education Association and the American Federation of Teachers are assisting with fundraising efforts, encouraging others to do so as well. More information can be found on the organization's website at nthf.org.
Final and certainly not last but not least, for sure, our next inductee, number 135 overall in the Hall of Fame, is Bradley Upshaw. Mr. Upshaw is a 2nd and 3rd grade teacher from Tarzana, California. He has a third of a century, 33 years of classroom experience, all at that same elementary school. We'll begin with the video, and then we'll have him up, and cannot wait to hear more about Bradley Upshaw.
I started in 1985, and I have to be honest, my first 3 years of teaching, I didn't know what I was doing. But I think every Saturday I would go to a workshop and steal new ideas from teachers. Some of the best mentors were out there, and they don't even know how much they helped me as a beginning teacher. I learned a lot from them, and it improved my own practice, and I continue to try to make things better. We want to be smarter today than we were yesterday. Accelerated Reader was something that I brought to this campus with my principal many years ago, and it's become a big part of the culture of our school. I love doing science in this elementary classroom. Gretchen has been here since I started in this class. She has very big ears for listening to feelings. And every Friday we have a family circle where we share our sad, mad, and glad feelings. We play a game called Upshaw, Shoot for Success. We produce our own video in the classroom productions. We try to do 2 or 3 movies each year, and those are also premiered here on this screen before we submit them to our district video contest and the state media festival. Sometimes we have days that are completely filled from beginning to end with very exciting things. I sometimes call those dragonfly days. You know, there are some dragonflies that don't live very long. They live almost their whole life in one day. Sometimes in my 3rd grade year, we have dragonfly days. From beginning to end, it's like a whole lifetime in one day. Those are great days. All the notes that they write to Gretchen or notes they write to me are things that I collect. Well, if you're a teacher, you know. I started in theater at a very young age through the schools and through the Parks Department. That took me into high school and all the musicals and even on into college. I thought that's what I was going to do. I thought I was going to do the same show for a different audience every night. But as it turns out, I'm doing a different show for the same audience every day, and I love it. I get to bring all my theater talents to this job, along with my new hobby of video editing. So I know how to take the best and really highlight that from video editing, and I know a little bit of showbiz from theater, so I can have students find their light. I'm Brad Upshaw, and I'm a teacher.
All right, would you welcome Hall of Famer number 135, the very cool Bradley Upshaw. Get a little quirky. Let's see. Let's see. Nice to have you in the hall.
Yeah, the videos. That's fun. It was a lot of fun doing our videos. I got my idea for that tagline. I'm Brad Upshaw and I'm a teacher, and I knew I wanted to use that. It's because I had watched the Screen Actors Guild Awards, and I don't know if you've seen those awards the last few years on television, but what happens is all the stars from a profession come together in a room like this with tables, and they pick maybe 5 of the best, and they ask those people to tell a little anecdotal story about how they got into the profession. And at the end of that, they'll say something like, who does it? I'm Matt Damon, and I'm an actor. And I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, I'm Brad Upshaw, and I'm a teacher. And just so you know, the behind the scenes in this video, I didn't know exactly how I was going to edit it, but every part of my room, I went into the classroom and explained some part of my practice. And when I did that, at the end of every paragraph, I said, I'm Brad Upshaw, and I'm a teacher. A dozen times. I used it, and I didn't know when to use it. I knew I was going to use it at the end. But then I realized in that process, in that reflection of making that video, that I must really like being a teacher. Because I tell everybody that I'm a teacher. They don't even care, but I go up to them and I say, I don't know if you know this, but I'm Brad Upshaw and a teacher. And look at tonight's video examples. There was some great examples. For example, Connie's cinematic masterpiece, and Jeff's storytelling about why, and the political connections of Miss Jackson, and Maureen's field trip into nature. That's us, and they're not here tonight, but I bet I could hear their students. I think they might say something like this. I know I'm smart. I love literature. I love and know the Constitution. I care about our environment. And that's because of all of you. Thank you, teachers. My students, they say, when is it going to be recess? So proud to be a teacher. My parents, of course, were my first teachers. Doug and Doris raised me and got me on my way until I got into school. My mom wanted to make sure that I learned empathy, and my dad wanted me to have a strong work ethic. I lost my mom after my first year of teaching, but she knew I was a teacher, and she knew I found my place where I could share compassion. My dad I just lost a few years ago, and yet it was just after I had become a national board certified teacher, so he knew I worked hard. And so I'm glad to do that for them. They named me Bradley Douglas, but since then I've got a lot of other names. My wife calls me U, short for Upshaw. I call her Q, short for Quinn, and you know, Q and U goes together, which is great. Although it's a little embarrassing sometimes when we're in public and she'll say something like, hey, you, and then everyone turns around and it's cute. As it turns out, my stepdaughters, I joined a family already in progress, my stepdaughters call me Mr. Upshaw. Well, they did at first because they knew me from school, and that was my name at school. I also have my new in-laws, Bill and Donna Quinn, and they call me son. I have Sherry's brothers, Sean and Steve, and why am I forgetting Scott? Sure. They all call me their brother. And I have 2 brothers, and they call me Big Brother. One of my brothers is here tonight, and he calls me Burford for some reason. I have no idea why, Mark. We'll have to settle that later. You still sit in the middle. Now, the state of California calls me credentialed. The Los Angeles Unified School District calls me a mentor. The United Teachers Los Angeles Union calls me a chapter chair. The National Board of Professional Teacher Standards calls me accomplished. My video mentor, Hall Davidson, calls me his partner because I get to play tennis with him. And he's from Discovery Education, so he's been my mentor for a long time. And we play against his wife, and we always win. It's great. My Van Alden faculty call me colleague. My principal, Yoshim Yang, calls me the lead teacher, and she's the one who, after hearing Claudio Sanchez, nominated me for this amazing honor. And here in Kansas, I've also gotten some new names. I love Emporia because Jen Baldwin calls me organized. Angie, Tim, and Lauren Miller, my host family, they call me a welcomed guest. Dr. Ken Weaver calls me an ambassador for public education. Carol Strickland calls me the 135th inductee. The Hall's sponsors call me a happy customer. KVOE calls me live and local. That's right. And you know, Angie, the treasurer from the Hall, and a former student of mine from the Los Angeles area, Myrna, they both called me surprised. You did my surprise assembly, and you surprised me tonight. She lives in Emporia now. How did she figure out to get to Emporia before me? Thank you for being here tonight. So I do have other names at my school. Some elementary school teachers may know this, that when you get a male teacher in the early elementary grades, they call you Mrs., because that's what they know to call teachers. I don't mind that. It's exciting to know that I'm in a group, a faculty that has many women and always has and always will. They're the best. But my favorite name of all, and I want to share this, is when a kid is so comfortable in my class that they need to ask me something or they need to tell me something, and they come up to me and they say, "Mom," oh, I'm so embarrassed. I called him Mom, but I completely understand it's my favorite name of all. So let me ask you, do you like sharpening pencils in an electric pencil sharpener? You can do this all you want. Do you like music? Do you like painting? Do you like decorating? Do you like planning? Do you like going on trips with kids or without kids? After 20 years, you can save up enough money to go on trips on your own. Do you like collaborating with top professionals? Well, then you need to be a teacher, because lives are better when they're filled with purpose and money. You can make $1 million a career. It's true. So when I decided to do this video, I thought I would allude to the idea of having some of the letters from students, and I put some of those on the wall in the hall. But I also brought a couple of letters, and I just thought, and it's for sure it's self-serving. I heard you, but if you want to be a teacher, you could get something out of it, like this one. "You are my best teacher, Mr. Upshaw. Mr. Upshaw, you are so nice, and I will never forget about you. You have so much kindness in your heart, and you are the most funniest teacher ever. I like 4th grade, but I like 3rd grade most." Here's a quick one from a parent. I'll just tell you, they said, "Thank you for the words of praise for our son, for recognizing the special things, even though he may not." That's pretty nice that a parent would send that back to my classroom. Here's from another parent. She says, "I could not have asked for a better teacher for my child. It's obvious that you made a difference in my son's life. When he first came into your class, he was shy and distant from other students. And now he is confident and does not mind speaking in class. I appreciate you giving him confidence." Well, that's kind of fun, because I thought I was going to be in show business, but I end up being in show and tell business. I've become a talent agent where I have to discover their talent, develop it, and then make them promise that they're going to share it with the world. That's my job. Here's one last one. It has me and you on the back. Mr. Upshaw is the best teacher ever. He is the most funniest and the most handsome. And he is the most happiest teacher and the most smartest and the most goodest teacher. I don't want to leave, but I know I will someday. But I will always keep him in my heart. I love him as my best teacher. You get these for free as being the adult in the room. I'm serious, you have to try it. Because I don't know, you know what teachers always say, oh, I'm doing it for the kids, I'm doing it for the future, and I know that's true. But I would also suggest that life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the show, and it's up and running right now. Today's experiences matter. What we do right now may have lasting effects into tomorrow, and we have so many examples that they do. But use a little enlightened self-interest and think about what you get out of it today. Joy and accomplishment is not just for students in the classroom, it can be yours. Come join us in the teaching profession, I say. We'll be waiting right here for you at the National Teachers Hall of Fame. I'm Brad Upshaw, and I'm a teacher. Thanks, sir. You're welcome, buddy. Let me visit that.
Brad, what do you say? No, everyone. Because I'm Ralph Hipp and I'm an anchor man who's about to wrap all this up. It was lovely. Connie, thank you. Jeffrey, Peggy, Maureen, and you. Bradley, you, yeah. Got the rings on the fingers. Yeah. Brad, I have something for your hand. Yeah. And I'll hold this, and here's your 10-karat gold ring. You're welcome. What a deserving man. We'll have this for you over here. Well, on behalf of Emporia State University and the National Teachers Hall of Fame and its Board of Trustees, our corporate partners and our sponsors, our host families and the volunteers, thank you all for being a part of this special night. And I love coming to welcome these 5 newest members of the Hall of Fame every year. So we'll get together again for the 28th, about a year from now. Hope all of our teachers nationally have a fantastic upcoming school year, and we'll see you next year right here. Good night. Picture time. Get the phones. Picture time. See you later, everybody.